Hello there, wrestling fans. Hey, Sassy, welcome back to the Twins at Ringside podcast, episode 4. Wow, 4. Yeah, 4 episodes, Sassy. Do you believe that so far? 4.
That happened pretty quick, I would say.
I know. And welcome back to the fold, Sassy. You've been a little bit busy. I know you have a busy life, busy lady.
Yes.
So welcome back. We have some guests here today that are very important to me because being Mr. Old School from the old island of Old School. Do you want to introduce them, Geekums, Sassums?
Well, I feel like the legacy of who we have on our show today would be better stated by herself. So I would like to hand the mic over to our guest and let her tell us where she's from. Tell us a little about yourself and tell us about both of you, where you guys at, how you ended up here.
I don't know how we ended up here, guys. I've been trying to escape. Let me go. Hi, guys. I'm Teal Piper. This is Deimos. We're from House of Heathens. I'm the daughter of the late Rowdy Roddy Piper. Grew up in Portland, Oregon. He grew up in Pittsburgh. And we've been wrestling together for a while now. It's been a journey. Yeah. So now here we are to talk about it.
Yep. Awesome. Thanks again, guys. I really appreciate this. I can't even tell you how happy I am to have you on this journey with me and Sassy. So, if there's any young wrestling fans out there that are really looking for somewhere to go and they want to know how can they get into the wrestling world, what would you be like? What would be one of your advice? What would be your advice for them?
Don't.
I was thinking it. Go to college first. My advice, I guess, would be it's something you definitely have to love, and you have to have a very strong mental mindset for. One of the things we were actually talking about yesterday that he was telling me is most of your job in professional wrestling ends up just being problem solving. Everywhere you go, there's a lot of problem solving you have to do and a lot of obstacles you have to get around. So you have to have a lot of mental endurance to get through it all. Kiss sleep goodbye. That's just, you're not going to see sleep ever again. And get in shape. A lot of people don't take it seriously. And it is a sport. You need to get in shape, not just for aesthetics, but also, when you're at the end of a match, if you can't lift somebody up, people get hurt that way. You need to be, physically in shape. So I think the first thing anyone should do is just spend some time doing that first, and then go study, go find a quality school with quality trainers, not just some backyarder, and start learning the craft. Watch a lot of wrestling, try to pick that up.
Yeah. I think on a serious note, I guess the two best pieces of advice I would ever give somebody who wants to get into wrestling, if they really are determined, is always pick a school that has a reputable trainer. And I don't mean, he looks like a wrestler and he's done a lot of indie shows. I mean, you need to go to someone who can teach you how to go to the places you want to go to. So if you go to a wrestling school and you learn from a guy who's never been anywhere, how can he teach you how to go somewhere if he ain't never been there, right? So always have a trainer who understands how to get to the level that you want to get to. A lot of people fall into the trap and get ripped off from these schools who are just guys who never made it and want to make some money. And instead of it being an institution for you to learn, it ends up just being a carny way for them to scam a bunch of people who want to get into the industry. So to avoid that, the best number one piece of information is look up the school. Who runs it? Who's the trainers, and where have they been, and what have they accomplished? And if anything they've accomplished is something you want to accomplish, then go there. And I guess the second thing, especially in today's wrestling, is people see different body types on TV. And they think that if they, look a certain way, it's okay, it's acceptable if you're a big boy, or, you're anorexic or whatever. And, people tend to body shame those people, saying you need to, be in better shape. And I think that they take that the wrong way because I don't know. Kevin Owens is out of shape, but they can't do what Kevin Owens can do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just about the way you look; it's about what you can do with what you look like. You know, just being a guy who wears, you know, a t-shirt and shorts and kick pads and comes down to the ring with a big belly, you know, you might identify as that person saying, well, if he can do it, I can. But you're taking out the part that he can do things that you can't. Mm. So he makes being out of shape still somehow in shape. You know what I mean? You know, Samoa Joe's a big boy, but he has better cardio than me, and I have abs. You know, so and people like Bray Wyatt and stuff, you know, like big boys can move, you know, so you need to be able to too. You just can't lean on the, well, they can get away with it, so can I thing, you know? So like those are the two best pieces of advice is, you know, pay closer attention to what your goals are, you know, and what you need to work on yourself to do and research where you go.
I love that. I love that you brought up aesthetics versus athleticism.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the most intriguing things to me, at least, watching wrestling live, is the amount of athleticism that you have to have. Just your cardio alone, jumping around, going back and forth, lifting each other up, falling to the ground, hopping right back up on your feet. You know, I think a lot of people forget that it is such a highly athletic sport. Like you have to have better cardio than football players.
Oh yeah.
Oh god.
Better strength. I mean, just to lift another human up, and some, you know, some of y'all above your head, you're tossing each other around. I mean, you know, lifting a bag of rice is a struggle for some people. So, you know, they forget that your body habitus does not reflect what, you know, your heart and your lungs are capable of. It's like insane when you really think about it. It's really
not. They don't take that into consideration, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always fall back on the two biggest shifts of my generation, and the first one was John Cena, and when he first started coming out with jean shorts and basketball shoes, every goof on the in the indies thought, well, if he can do it, then I don't have to buy gear and I can wear tennis shoes and shorts. But you can't do what he can do, and you can't get over with the way he can get over. You don't have the platform that he has, you know, and you don't have the character that he has, you know. So it gave people, you know, permission to do something that they shouldn't want to do. And then the second biggest shift was when Bray Wyatt came into the business. And the first thing Bray Wyatt did when he came out is every fucking overshaped guy on the indies would put on a Hawaiian short and a pair of pants and go, "This is me now." You know, because if he can do it, I can do it. But they can't move like Bray Wyatt because Bray Wyatt played football. Right. And that dude he's explosive. He is fast. He can get up on you at 350 pounds faster than a 150-pound dude on any day. Trust me, I've been in there with him. I know what it feels like. You know, so it's like, you know, if a dude who's 350 pounds with a Hawaiian shirt can shoot across a 20-foot ring and get behind me like that, you know, and some dude at the indie show who's dry heaving just to climb up the steps to get in the ring, you know, there's a difference. And it ain't your outfit, you know, and they never, ever factor that in. You know, it's always the easiest road.
Yeah, I would never call going into wrestling an easy road myself, personally.
Oh, yeah, but you'd be shocked how many people in these shows believe that, though.
Oh, I'm sure they think it's all Hollywood.
It's shocking.
And, you know, computer and what. I don't understand how they don't see what's happening in front of them and realize that
we always say they don't know enough to know what they don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those floating around.
No, it's quite scary because, you know, she's coming to this business obviously coming from her legacy background, but also having a lot of exposure to the upper levels of these locker rooms, you know, and going to these indie shows. You know, it's shocking how much these people they don't realize how far removed they are from the reality of this industry and what it actually is about. Yeah. You know, and they walk around with this sense of entitlement where they think that they know because they see gymnastics on television, you know, and it's like they don't even understand the business side of what we do. I always tell her the last important thing that we do in this business is what we do in the ring. That's the least important thing we do. That's why Vince McMahon cuts the commercials during wrestling matches, because that's the least important thing we do. Mm-hmm. You know, and they don't even realize that while they're doing 35 super kicks and a bunch of swan dives. You know, it's like they forget that that's not what gets you over.
Right.
You know, You know, you might as well be the cheerleader squad in the middle of an NFL game during break time. You know, that's basically what you are. And nobody paid to see it, but I guess they're okay with you being there.
Right. True.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not, promos sell tickets. You're just on the card. You know, and that's the difference. And that shows in every major company that you go to, no matter what people say on the internet. The proof is in the pudding, in the product. You know, people use AEW as a clutch for the indie goofs to go there and say, well, I'm a star here. Well, I don't know, because I think the biggest stars in AEW are still guys who work like WWE guys. You know, storytellers, characters, gimmicks. You know, your top guy is MJF. Why? Because he reminds you of a WWE wrestler. You know, and it's not the WWE that it reminds you of. He's an actual professional wrestler. You know, and he acts like an actual professional.
Right.
You know, and that's why he's so over. And they don't even realize that the reason why the audience connects to him is because he's on a platform that they want to think is anti-WWE, but they're still buying into the same thing that WWE sold them growing up. So has the business evolved, or are the wrestlers looking for excuses to be lazy?
Shush, I love this. Yeah.
Preach, Deimos.
I don't pull punches.
I love it. Yes, I'm with you.
So I'm like, preach, Deimos, preach. Pass the bucket around. Teach these children.
Yeah.
I'm not a hater. You know, it's like a lot of
No.
podcasts and stuff like that. They like to crap on all these companies, and I think that every company has its pros and its cons. You know, especially as people like us who are currently going to all the different ones and working with all these different locker rooms and seeing all the differences in how they work. You know, they all have their pros and their cons. You know, there's over micromanaged, there's under micromanaged, it's all across the board. Every locker room has their ups and their downs, you know, and every place is a good place that you can work for the right and wrong reasons. You know, I'm not one of those people who hate on modern day wrestling. I hate on modern day excuses. You know, and I mean, I understand that the audience needs to adjust the way they view things all the time. And I know that a lot of wrestlers, when they do interviews or even in locker rooms, have different opinions of what should and shouldn't be done and I mean, you go to a restaurant, there's a lot of things on the menu, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but there's also the most popular items. You know, and that's the difference is you're just a meal on the menu, but don't confuse yourself with the popular selling items. You know, I mean, people would rather buy a steak than mozzarella sticks. There's a reason why one's an appetizer and one's the thing you came here for.
True.
You know, and they just, I always tell her, and I'll leave it at this, the biggest mistake I find in wrestlers today is, no matter where you are, WWE, AEW, Impact, it doesn't matter, even on the indies, the biggest mistake that I find wrestlers make today is they don't understand their place on the card. You know, and I don't mean that in a demeaning way. And I mean, is what do you bring to the table and where do you fit on the show to maximize your drawing power?
Interesting.
You know, and they all think that they're the top person. And, like, for example, me, if I were to go right now to WWE, I know for a fact that I'm not a top guy. And that's just simply because of the way I look. You know, a top guy has to be not as tattooed as me. He has to be inviting. What are the top guys you remember wrestling? You remember Hogan, blonde hair, blue eyes, no tattoos, white guy. You know, what do you remember about Stone Cold? Blonde when he had hair, blue eyes, no tattoos. What do you remember about Rock? You know, Cena. You know, all these guys, they were the faces of the company because they can be marketed towards any audience. And who were the people who went against them? Orton tattooed up, Batista tattooed up. Like, we were the villains.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like I know that if I were to ever go to a major company, I'm always going to be kind of like the antagonist to the superhero. I'm going to be Superman's villain. You know what I mean? So, and that's okay because there's a place for us to make money, and a lot of it. I don't think Randy Orton is struggling. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And there has to be two sides.
Yeah, and people, they just always they grow up and they think, oh, this is my vision, but that's because they grew up as marks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but once you're educated, which most of them still aren't, but when you get educated, you should understand that this is a business.
Right.
You know, you can't just keep playing fan in the locker room. You know what I mean? Like, like you got to understand, what you bring to the table. You know, and and what your strengths and your weaknesses are. And as entertainers, you're supposed to, just like in movies, you know, when you have a short action hero, what do? They put them on a box to make them as tall as the chick, right? They don't put that on camera, but they cover it up. You know, he might be a good-looking guy and in great shape, but he's 5'8", and that's not attractive. You know, if he's sitting there trying to kiss a 5'8" woman.
Right.
You know, so like, you know, it's the same thing in wrestling. You got to learn how to hide your flaws and showcase your strengths. And they just often showcase their flaws and then make excuses.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is what's wrong with current day wrestling. And if they could just clean that bit up, you know, everything would be a lot better.
Yeah.
I love that. Go ahead, Joe. I see you have a question.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay, Deimos.
No, it's okay.
I
It's
love
like what
that.
we
That's
do
like
all
my
day.
favorite thing when the wrestler has a lot to say,
Love
and it's good for you to tell everybody's story, like how you feel about the wrestling business. That's you. You know what I mean? That's a good thing. That's always good to tell the fans how you feel. And that's why I invited you guys on here so you guys could talk and tell your stories. So Deimos and Teal, with like you guys are doing your shows all the time, what is like your normal schedule like?
Worse than mine.
Teal's eyes are like, whoa. I can tell it's probably crazy.
It's been normally we go to bed around 3 in the morning.
Mhm.
I get up at like 8 most days. It depends on if we're doing a loop or not. When we're doing loops, we'll usually go, I think the most we've done is like 48 hours with no sleep, but we'll usually go at least a day or two where we don't get a chance to sleep. And then, you know, we get home on like a Monday or Tuesday and relax for like a day and then start up again.
Holy
When we're not traveling and we're like in between, we'll pretty much go to bed at 3 a.m. anyways, just because you get on a schedule, you know, like you're used to the show ending late and having to drive or fly somewhere. So you just kind of get used to that schedule, which kind of makes you look like a bum to everybody. Like all my family and friends, you know, like, why are you still up? I'm like, this is my life now. I don't know. But you just kind of get used to that schedule and training a lot every day. We probably do 4-ish, sometimes more hours in the gym every day on top of ring training and stuff like that. Or sometimes we'll do jujitsu, or I'll do jujitsu and he'll laugh at me do jujitsu. You know, whatever keeps us in shape. But you know, when we're traveling, there's not a lot of sleep, that's for sure. It's very hard to be that physical on no sleep is, I think, the biggest challenge for me. Like I can do no sleep, but having to then push your body to that limit while being sleep deprived has been hard.
I imagine. I see you with your Starbucks cup, and I'm kind of sad that mine is on my coffee table in my living room.
I'm not even done with it, and I'm already sad I'm gonna be done.
As somebody who drinks Starbucks 7 days a week, I understand that.
Same.
On a spiritual level.
My blood is just caffeine at this point.
Literally, basically. With the amount of the lack of sleep that you have, I mean, you have to make up and recover your body somehow. I imagine that you guys eat like absolute savages. The calories that you burn, I imagine your body requires a lot of eating.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we definitely, him more than me, but we definitely, I count my macros and everything like that. I'm trying, you know, we monitor how much protein mostly we're eating. If we're traveling and not able to go to a gym, especially, we'll make sure to like cut back on carbs or something like that day. But I definitely eat more now than I did before I was a wrestler, but I eat a lot cleaner now than I used to. Does that make sense?
Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I as a nurse, I see a lot of these influencers and fitness people on the internet, and people who are, you know, dietitians, nutritionists, most of them uncertified, that, you know, recommend to people who are doing strenuous activity to cut their calories back to, you know, 1,200 or less calories, and, you know, missing meals and purposefully not eating. And so it's refreshing to hear someone who is an athlete say that they eat.
It's actually been one of his like challenges with me. I came from, you know, Hollywood, and I was used to the Hollywood diet, and, you know, you binge and then you starve and you work out and you starve, you know. and then learning how to put on muscle and get stronger, which is really what my focus was more than like weight loss or anything. I was just like, I'm just going to focus on putting on muscle and getting stronger. And then, abs and stuff like that will come with it. Learning how to eat in a different way was really challenging because in my brain, I'm always like, eat less calories,
Mm-hmm.
But, so sometimes he still struggles with that. He has to remind me to eat a lot because when I'm stressed out and busy, the last thing I ever want to do is think about food, like at all, but there's so much that goes into maintaining and putting on muscle, and like the time of day you eat or sleep or whatever will just undo your entire freaking workout. So it's like trying to remember that, oh, well, if I skip this meal, then why did I just spend 4 hours in the gym? That kind of thing. So it's been like having to reteach myself, but I definitely feel healthier than I've ever felt before, stronger. My body's changed a lot, but like in good ways. So it's been hard sometimes, but it's definitely a different process eating more and still somehow being in better shape. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So let's stay on the topic with the food. So when you guys are on the road, is it chain restaurants or is it local restaurants?
Let me tell you, being on the road dieting, I swear, is like the hardest thing in the world. Oh my God. Like when I first started traveling with him, because he's, a body guy and everything, which apparently means I now have to be that too. I don't know. Don't get me started on that. So like you land and you get there, and for some reason in post-COVID world, nothing's ever open anymore. Screw 24-hour Walmart. They all close at 8 because I don't know why. Just no one wanted to open after COVID. So now when you get into town, there's like some crappy fast food open or nothing. So what we did is we actually worked with this company, Wolfpack, and they're these like cool looking backpacks, and they have freezer stuff in it, and we will meal prep food to go, freeze it, and fly with it. And fly with the ice packs and everything. And it's super heavy and a pain in the ass, but it's the only way to eat clean that we can figure out. And that'll last us about 2 days. So like we can get through most of a weekend,
All right.
and then we'll fill in food when places are open, like if we can find a grocery store or something. But if we don't have that, there's like no hope of dieting on the road. It's very challenging.
Wow. What's your favorite thing to throw? Like if you were like, oh crap, we forgot to do our meal prep. We've got an hour and I just got to grab. What's your go-to? Like, this is my easy go-to.
Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
Yes, I love that.
That is like I'm pretty sure we've kept them in business with how much we go there. And we get all the boosters, like the most expensive smoothies you can imagine.
That's great. I love that place. Oh my gosh. So I'm wondering now, this is my nurse brain, like going for the crazy questions, but what have either of you ever experienced like an injury or situation when you were wrestling, and how did you like any kind of major crazy injuries?
I'll go first because you're way more fun than mine. It'll be like deflated if we go to mine last. The only major injury I've had is basically in the first couple months of me wrestling and training, I blew out my ACL.
Oh,
it just completely gone, and tore my MCL. And actually the first match I ever had, which was at AEW for their Women's Royal Rumble that year, I had just blown it out. So the whole time going down the ring, I was just thinking, I'm going to lose like I'm just going to fall, like I had just been taping it for months before I finally was like, I need a surgery. And it was really devastating because, I had just broken in and I didn't want to miss a year. But then about 2 days after my surgery, COVID hit and everything else got shut down for the year. So I was like, I guess out of every year this could happen to me, no one else is going to have fun either. All right.
Oh, that was a happy accident for sure.
Yeah, I still wrestle with a brace on just because I don't want to test the limits of it that much if I don't have to, but it's good to go. It's good. I just like to have the brace.
Yeah. Me, geez. I've had a broken neck. I've had 2 shoulder surgeries, bicep surgery, knee surgery, 2 herniated herniations on my stomach, triceps repair, Yeah, and I've had 14 concussions that I know of, 9 broken noses, and dislocations that I can't even remember the
I
list
broke
of.
my nose. I forgot about that.
Twice.
Twice.
Yeah.
Didn't count that one on my brain.
Oh my.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've
I have
been
a metal neck.
tossed around a bit.
Huh?
You've been tossed around a bit.
Oh yeah, well, the same as her. I actually had my neck surgery in LA. So Stone Cold put me in touch with his surgeon in LA, and I drove cross country and went to his because he had a neurosurgeon. I only went to a doctor I trusted, has worked on another wrestler who can get them back to work. So I went over, I moved to LA, and I had my surgery there. I have metal discs in my neck, the C4, C5, and then I rehabbed over there, and happened just like her. Our surgeries were a month apart, so I was depressed. But they told me it was going to take me a year to recover from neck surgery, and then the world shut down, so no one else had work. So I guess it was okay to have a year off because we all were screwed.
That's it. It was a terrible thing to happen at the right time to happen.
Yes,
Exactly.
and we went to the same rehab facility throughout the pandemic.
His was nuts though. He was like paralyzed on
Yeah,
the
I was
right side,
paralyzed.
and like
Yeah.
his neck had like exploded.
Oh,
Yeah, it's crazy.
gosh. And how
Yeah.
is I'm imagining you're feeling recovered at least as well as you could after an injury like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I recovered about 85%. Like there's still, because my whole right arm was paralyzed, so like I can move my arm, but like my long head is still like a little bit nerve damage, and my front delt, a little bit of my shoulder blade has some atrophy, which is just, it's nerve damage. That's just going to kind of be there kind of forever.
Right.
But it healed up enough for me to be able to go back to work.
All right.
So I could safely wrestle again. Yeah, that's all that matters.
Good. That's important. The safely is the important part of the whole statement.
Big word.
Safely.
Yeah.
So, do you guys, when you're on your free time, do you guys watch like Netflix? Do you like Hulu people, Disney Plus? What's your poison?
Right now we're in the middle of watching The Boys on Amazon Prime.
Ooh.
He was avoiding it forever because he didn't think he'd like it, and then like I made him watch it with me because I'm behind the season, so I got him into it. We watch a lot of wrestling, like I do a lot of tape studying, we watch a lot of wrestling, try to keep up on the products.
We binge watch a lot of TV shows.
Yeah.
Body cam police shows.
Yeah.
Oh.
My 600-pound life.
Mm-hmm.
Quality TV.
Oh yeah.
One of my faves. I've actually been recently watching a lot of true crime TV. They had the John Benet Ramsey story, and they have the Casey Anthony story. So I've been like swinging through those lately.
Oh yeah. All documentaries.
I love that. Love it.
Sucks you right in. You can't get
I was
away.
just watching last night. They did a documentary on the DC sniper.
Oh, I gotta watch.
I lived in DC during all that.
Oh, stop.
I was like one of the people who they were like ducking at gas stations, hoping I wasn't going to get shot. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's nuts. Now I definitely have to watch it.
Oh yeah. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool watching a documentary about your hometown. Is it good? Thank you. Thank you so much. You're the man.
Oop.
The hero of our life right
Hero,
now. Just
fix the
fix
AC.
our AC.
Hey,
Florida, it's very hot here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
A card for your gym?
Crunch.
That's what you go to, Crunch?
Crunch, yeah. Crunch 24 hours. Yeah. Whatever one you want. Just text me. I got it.
That's the next question.
All right, sorry guys.
I would love to jump in on your gym session, honestly.
Whenever you're in town, have that happen.
That would
There
be
you go.
great.
Where do you even live?
I'm in Brooklyn, New York.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I'm way up north over here, dealing with the same humidity. Just
Man, every time I go to New York for shows, it is just so frustrating.
yes.
So the traffic and driving there is like in a third world country, not. I feel like I'm in London, and then like you can't get anything to eat that's not like 3 times as expensive.
Absolutely.
I've never paid so
Or
much
like an
for
Uber there.
Oh my god, yeah, I've never paid so much for a sub, or something like that. Like Jesus, man, I can't afford to live in New York.
I can't afford to live in New York either.
I don't think
Here I am.
It's so ridiculous. Yeah, good lord.
It's insane. And you know what's even more horrendous about it is that we grew up on Long Island, which is not far from New York City. And it's no less expensive to live there, but it's the suburbs. But you like grow up, if you grow up here and you've lived here forever, you don't realize how overpriced everything is until you physically live somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's even just visiting Florida, like where are you visiting? Orlando, Miami, Sarasota, Tampa, like all the most expensive places to go. So you don't realize how much cheaper it is to be anywhere but there. It's like,
Yeah.
It's so true. Back when I lived in LA, we'd get like a lot of New York transplants, and I'd always say to myself when things were expensive, I was like, at least I don't live in New York.
Yeah.
It's the only place worse.
Yeah.
And it's so much worse in New York. Like it's like double LA prices.
So like I don't really know like distances there, but like how far are you from like Rhode Island?
If I were to get in the car and drive, it would probably take me, I would say about maybe 5 hours, 6 hours.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
horrendously far.
What about New York? Like Newark.
Oh, Newark, like Newark, New Jersey?
Yeah.
20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
like 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe maximum from Newark.
We're not 100% sure, but we might actually be doing a show in Newark in a couple of weeks.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
If you have information about that, please send it along because Joe and I would love to see you guys there.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's
definitely.
know.
We could take another selfie.
Yeah.
this time with Chica, because it was like she was that. There we go. Let's go into the discussion how Joe bumped into Deimos and Teal again. We went to ISPW. It was, if you're not familiar, anybody's not familiar watching this. ISPW is based out of New Jersey. For Christmas that year, Sassy was like, I kept talking about the '80s con, and I get the piece of paper. I was like, oh my god, so cool. So I kept getting updates online. And that day we get there, and I'm on the floor walking around my blue jacket. And all of a sudden, Sassy's walking with me, and I see this guy staring at me with a bald head, looking around. And as I told Teal, it was like the cartoon mailman seeing the big pit bull on the porch. And he looked the dog directly in the eyes. You know the rule. And I look sideways, and it's Deimos. He's nice. He's cool. He's one of my former guests. And then I see him turn his head, and I see the black hair, and I'm like, oh my god, that's Teal Piper. And he turned his head and said something, and then all of a sudden Teal goes. And she like pops out of the chair and just darts over there, and Sassy's just like, she's kind of like this, and she's like, remember, she's my big sister, so she's always going into big sister mode, and she sees this tall lady come flying at me. Oh my god, Joe! And I'm like,
horns go up.
It's like, and like I'm 5'1", so you like were like, I was up to your belly button. I'm like, hi, what's up, lady? Yeah, I was caught off guard because I looked at all the family members of the '80s like kids, and I was like, okay, there's gonna be some surprises. Please let me somebody I actually know and that I've actually spoken to, like on a show that I did back in the day. Like be able to like get in a conversation with someone, and then I see you two, and I was like, that's cool. That's a cool surprise. I was very happy.
I'm glad we
I'm
made
so
you
happy.
happy.
That was fun, man. It was fun running into you.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, and it was sad because Sassy was with me to actually see that experience and like actually say hi to you and meet you, and she was like Rowdy Roddy Piper. I was like, yes. She's like, oh my god, look at this.
It was so awesome.
It was so fun. I was so happy. I was like, that was the coolest. I'm like, for like anybody that said hi to me after I bumped into you two was just like, oh hi, I'm Joe. Hi, I'm Joe.
I'm glad we were the best part of your night.
It was like the highlight. I was like,
That
wow.
was a fun show. We didn't have much work to do. We were just
Yeah.
chilling, signings and stuff. So it was a pretty fun day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a really fun con, I have to say.
Yeah.
It was a really fun con. Seeing some of the people that were there, it's very nostalgic. I enjoyed that
Yes.
one. I hear there's a 90s wrestling con coming up relatively soon as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. There was a couple of people I saw advertised for that.
Yeah.
It's in the mall. Actually, it's in the mall in New Jersey.
Is it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's in the mall.
I'll have to look into that.
We'll send pics if you go.
Oh, I will.
No malls still exist.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
I
know.
went to mall with my dad
It's
to
like
get my new
there's-
stuff from a new job, and I felt weird. I was like, I'm in the mall, and it's really muggy.
Right? I was texting a friend. I don't remember what it was, but I needed like an outfit last second for something. And I was texting my friend. And I was like, "Where do you even go to get this? Not on the internet these days." And because she was like, "I don't know. I think everything closed. Like I couldn't find anywhere not on the internet to buy clothes."
I can't even think of more than maybe 3 places, and it's like nowhere
We went
you
to
really.
one mall out here, and it was like a ghost town.
Yeah.
Everything there was like a Panera bread or whatever it's called in there.
Yeah.
And like a cell phone fucking store, and sorry, and everything else was just like empty and desolate. We heard some lady screaming.
Like
I was
mall is
like, where are we?
This mall is so empty and condemned. Like it's an entire full-size mall, and maybe 4 to 5 stores are still open. So it's so condemned that they actually filmed a horror movie in the mall because it looks that creepy and like
There's like no one in it.
Yeah.
Wow. I kind of want to camp in one of those, honestly.
It's like the
Yeah, it's
episode of
pretty
South
eerie to a
Park.
mall, yeah. Huh?
You know the episode of South Park that Kyle and Kenny and all the kids go to the mall, and it's like trees are growing on it, and there's the
Yes,
characters.
yes, that's exactly what it was.
All
like.
the workers are zombies, and the kids are like, "What happened here?" That's all I can think. I was like, "Dang, my mom is
Exactly what it's like."
I'm gonna bump into the zombies in the episode of South Park." My Mama Panther didn't get it. She was like, "Well,
Go there for Auntie Annie's and to be murdered. Those are the only 2 reasons you go to a mall nowadays.
It is a pretty eerie
True.
mall.
got
What kind
bum
of nurse
rush.
are you?
I
Say
got
again?
bum rush."
What kind of nurse are you?
So I'm a home infusions nurse. I do IV infusions, prescription ones, not just like fluids and vitamins, but like real like IVIG and things like that for patients, but in their homes. So they don't get stuck having to go to like a dialysis center or a hospital or whatever. They can like work from home, and I do their medications for them. It's kind of cool.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Been a nurse for a long time. So this is my post-COVID gift from the universe, that I don't have to work in a hospital anymore or a nursing home or any place that would make me very sad all the time. So it's nice. It's nice to be out in the oxygen in the real world.
That's awesome.
So what are your plans coming up? Do you both have events coming up, I assume, relatively soon? Let's give me some heads up about those so we can make sure we look at promos.
Yeah, well, we might end up in Newark, but the next one that's for sure in the books is Atomic Legacy Wrestling, which usually is on Fight TV. So we have that coming up in late August. Was it the 27th?
27th, yeah.
I'm amazed I got that date right. I'm bad at dates.
Women's title match with Leva Bates and
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm going for the title, which I'm definitely gonna get this time.
Yes.
Magic.
Magic.
It's happening.
Yeah.
I'm training for this. And then, our schedule is gonna pick up more again in September. We kind of took like a couple weeks off to chill for a little bit because we've been going hard. So we're picking it back up starting August, September. Just, traveling. Hopefully we're talking about going back up to Canada, possibly Australia.
Yeah, Winnipeg, right?
Yeah, Winnipeg. Yeah, I mean that mostly, we're just grinding the indies. We have a couple side projects we're working on that, we're excited to get out there on the internet and stuff, but hopefully that'll happen in the next month or two.
We have we're at the phase where we have our hand on a lot of projects right now that we're trying to get to come to fruition. That because we just got done doing an awful lot. We did think about it. We were on 2 different programs in 1 week. We did the Ring of Honor tapings for AEW, and then we were on Hidden Treasures with WWE all in 1 week. So we were able to create a lot, and we were traveling a lot leading up to that, like where we saw you guys and other places. Like every week we were in a different state or country, just really getting our brand out there, and then capping it with the Hidden Treasures and Ring of Honor, and then now we're just the next set of things we're about to do. So stay tuned. There's a lot to come for sure.
Yeah. Please keep us up to date with what projects you guys have coming up, because we would love to help promote and get some asses in the seats for you, and maybe our
Yeah,
own
appreciate
asses in
you
the
guys so much.
seats for you.
Yeah, send us you guys. And I always tell this to the wrestlers back in the day, and I'll say this now. Don't be shy to send us the posters for your upcoming events. I love
All right.
posting them on the Instagram page and on Twitter and on Facebook, so everybody could find out where you guys are, and if they're in the town that you're wrestling in, to buy a ticket and
Yeah.
just come and come hang out. And not hang out. Come sit in the seat and buy a soda or buy a beer and watch you guys perform and
All
stuff
right,
like
hell yeah, I
that.
appreciate that.
Thank
for
you,
sure.
man.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's what I love. I love independent wrestling. I love wrestling so much. And I love helping you guys get your names known across the globe, even though you guys have been across the globe. And I've never stepped foot I've never stepped foot over in the other countries, but I just like to be the satellite just for you guys to go into the
I
atmosphere.
appreciate it. Of course, appreciate it so much.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you're one of my favorite former guests. So like I told Sassy I have to have them on Twins.
I can confirm he did. He was
That's
happy.
awesome.
Well, we're happy to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm so glad we got to talk to you today.
I want to thank you two so much for coming on Twins at Ringside. It really means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to Sassy.
It does.
If you two have any social medias, how could our fans find you on social media?
On Instagram's my favorites. I'm at Teal Piper. I'm on TikTok at Teal Piper. What is the new Instagram thing I'm on? Threads. Apparently, we just have to have endless new social media accounts in life, which I freaking hate. I'm on Threads now at Teal Piper. I'm also on Twitter at Ariel Teal.
Wow. I'm on Twitter at Real Deimos and on Instagram official_Deimos. And I guess I'm on Threads too, official_Deimos as well.
Yeah.
Just started that up like a couple days ago. I guess that's Instagram's new Twitter. I don't know.
Yeah.
Basically, I said we made a full circle, and I feel like we're almost back to MySpace. We're like,
oh my goodness, they're gonna make a comeback next year.
Like,
so.
can we
No,
just
it's
as
still
a
there.
society pick one?
right.
It's still there,
Like
guys. Have you actually typed it in?
It's too much. Pardon?
Have you actually typed it in? It's still there. It's like the mall with the zombies in it. It's still there, just chilling.
Terrifying.
That's wild.
It's just there. I went there and I tried to type in my old password, and it gave me the red bar, and it's like, no, you can't come in.
It's
I was
just
getting mad. But I remembered my old password. I don't know how I remembered it from when I was like 19 years old. And it sent me to like a Facebook that looked like the MySpace. And like it was like weird. It had music. I'm like, this is not me. It's my face, but what?
Weird.
It's like Bizarro Land.
Yeah.
I don't want to see my old MySpace.
I was mad because there's a lot of good pictures.
I think.
It's a lot of good pictures that I could have sent over to my cell phone to put on Instagram on Ghostbuster
Are they
Joe.
good pictures though?
Pictures of me take a picture of myself in the mirror in the
With
bathroom.
a backwards camera in a mirror, trying to. And duck clips. We're
A
over.
lot of mirror photos. Yep.
Yeah. You can find us, me and Sassy, on Instagram on Twins at Ringside Podcast. I am Ghostbuster Joe on Instagram as well. And I am Joe Panther the Third.
I am Angela Sassy.
We are the House of Heathens.
Yes.
And we will catch you guys in the Twiniverse. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.